Hello my friends, and welcome back to the free PC VR game series. We're covering 20 new free games today, including some exceptionally highly polished free games. And quite a variety too. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started right away with Spellbound Spire. It's a room-scale puzzle game that requires you to physically walk throughout your playspace. It uses impossible geometry that enables you to walk a continuous path within your room. If you've played T for God, then you get the idea of how the movement works in this game. But I actually like this a lot more than T for God because it isn't just a demo, it's a complete and well-crafted puzzle game that kept on surprising me the more I played it. This puzzle game keeps adding more gameplay mechanics and new puzzle challenges every step of the way. Just when I thought I've seen it all, the game surprises me with even more ingenuity and creativity. And besides the impressive puzzle design, the ambience and architecture are really fun to take in. I felt like I was actually exploring a new magical world. It recommends a play space of 3 meters by 3 meters, but most people don't have that, so to play with less space, it has a unique feature called boosted movement, so every move you make gets multiplied by a value that ensures you can play in a smaller space. For me personally, the effect felt subtle and quite natural. You absolutely have to play this game. It took me about 40 minutes to beat it the first time I played, and there's an Easter egg that incentivizes you to play the game a second time. Spellbound Spire is a must-have in your library. Remind is a narrative puzzle exploration game. You are the investigator, tasked with checking on an old residence by the sea. As you arrive, you trigger an old AI, and a mystery begins to unfold.
What? Oh, yes. Hello there. Welcome to... Well, I can't quite remember.
The production quality in this game is through the roof. The visual design, the voice acting, all aspects of the production are done incredibly well. It's one of the best free games I've ever played. The environment and music alone make it a great place to just escape and relax. But the well-written story and exploration really seal the deal for me. At the beginning, you can choose sliding or teleporting for movement. Playtime is about 20 minutes, and I highly recommend it.
I only ever used this TV to monitor compiling tests. Try pressing yes, maybe.
Boiling Steel Preface. This is a combat and exploration sampler of the full game Boiling Steel. You get to experience a handful of levels from the game, but this sampler is actually quite impressive in scope. The combat itself features a unique weapon handling system which I haven't seen before. You choose which weapons you want by squeezing the grip buttons and pulling the weapon hologram to expand and transform it into reality. After you're empty, simply drop the gun and then create a new one. It's a pretty cool weapon system. To me, the action was mostly about switching weapons quickly based on the enemies you're facing, like deciding on long-range or close-range weapons based on the current threat. In each level, you're granted random weapon loadouts and special abilities, as opposed to the full game where you can customize them to your liking. There's 4 difficulty levels, so there's significant replayability here. One playthrough on easy can take you around 30 minutes, so with the increased difficulty levels, the gameplay can really stack up. For a free action game, it's fantastic. Definitely give this one a go. Axegend Episode I. Normally, tower defense games bore me quickly, but Axegend Episode I really surprised me and kept me engaged. I think it's because it's so silly, random, and wacky that I felt compelled to see what else the game was going to throw at me. It's a wave-based defense game, and in between attack rounds you get to set up traps to stop the marching enemies. You're also given melee and throwing weapons, so you yourself can cause damage as well. Besides building in between rounds, you can also choose upgrades and more weapons. You'll also have random mini-games that give you the chance to earn more upgrades as well. I found this game to have its own kind of quirky charm in the traps and enemy behaviors, like the funny way that they respond to walking on hot coals, or the fact that you can place a mocking doll as a defense tower, which is a sumo wrestler that will do a hip dance that will confuse the enemies. If you like silly and random humor in your games, then you really need to try this. There's 3 difficulty modes, and there's lots of movement settings and comfort options if you get motion sick.
I-24.
We now have the perfect game to get your grandpa to try VR, with Bingo VR.
I-17.
I honestly love the description on the Steam page. It is unheard of that a casual bingo game is a weapon of choice which drives aliens to their homeworld and defeats them forevermore. Yet, it is based on a true story. And you know what? I believe every word of it. So the stakes are high, as you need to defend the Earth by playing bingo. You can choose up to 3 boards to play simultaneously, since everyone knows all the pros play with multiple boards at once. I bet you've never played a game of bingo as epic as this one.
B6.
Mastery of Champions is an auto-battle chess brawler for VR. In the building phase, you spend points to purchase units and then place them on the battlefield. The fighting is all automatic, so your job is to choose the best units and place them strategically. You can also spend points to level up. Doing so will allow more units to be placed on the battlefield. There's a lot more to this, but that's the basic idea. For a free game that's early in development, it already has a lot of production value. All the visuals, animation, and audio are really solid and a cut above most other free games that I try. For a free strategy game, it's a must-play. Shattered Lights actually came out a while ago. It flew under my radar when it was released, but I'm featuring it now. It's a horror game that requires you to walk within your room scale, just like the previously mentioned Spellbound Spire. They recommend a room scale of 3 meters by 3 meters. You can see in the footage that I'm frequently coming up against my chaperone bounds, but the minimum is 1.5 by 1.5. And if you enjoy horror games, then this is a must play. Everything looks great and feels like a legit paid game. It features great interactions, and a creative flashlight that will dim and requires you to recharge it by pressing trigger. You'll traverse both claustrophobic areas and giant expansive rooms. This experience is super scary. Personally, I wasn't able to finish it. But if you enjoy being terrified, then you'll really enjoy this. Playtime is about 20 minutes. Quanero 2 system release. The original Quanero came out 4 years ago. It was a really awesome time-traveling detective experience that I still recommend. Now after all these years, Quanero 2 is now here for everyone to enjoy. According to the Steam page, it wasn't ever fully finished, so what you're getting isn't as polished overall as you would hope, but if you can look past the glitches, there's plenty to enjoy in here. In the game, you are a detective in the future, with the best surveillance system ever developed. You can reconstruct crime scenes in virtual reality, move freely, and manipulate time to carry out your investigations. So in a handful of scenes, you need to carefully observe all that's around you to gather clues and figure out who's behind the crimes you're witnessing. I recommend giving this a shot and forgiving its technical setbacks because there's some really great environments and fun detective sleuthing to be found in here. For movement inside the scenes, you can choose between sliding and teleporting.
We showed them that the AI is not perfect.
Flipside Studio is a real-time performance capture and scene creation tool. Use your headset and controllers to act out scenes and make your own videos. It's fairly intuitive, but there is a big learning curve here, and I think it's a good thing because with the learning curve comes a very powerful tool set. There's so many possibilities in this software to create fun scenes to share with the world. If you're willing to take the time to learn it, this could be a very rewarding experience for you. When I originally played HyperDash, it was only available on the Oculus Quest through SideQuest. But I was very happy to discover that you can now play HyperDash through Steam VR. It's a fast-paced multiplayer arena combat game. For an early alpha game, it's already incredibly polished, with great audio, crisp visuals, and a surprisingly active player base as well. You'll find a variety of weapons, and for movement, there's sliding, dashing, and also fun sliding on rail tracks. But you cannot download it on Steam yet. To get it, you'll need to join their Discord, which I'll link to below. It's a couple of extra steps to install, but absolutely worth it. Dernier Chant is a VR adventure game where you play as an airship sailor in a fantasy world. At the helm of your flying ship, you will encounter a whale that will take you to a magical place. Piloting the airship is a bit of a learning curve, but you'll get the hang of it. Sometimes your ship will need repairs, and you'll need to figure out the best way to fix them. The audioscape in this game is outstanding. It's really beautiful. Half of the experience here is just listening. I beat it in about 10 minutes. Davigo is an asymmetrical multiplayer game with one player in VR and another player on the same PC. You're not teaming up, you're both mortal enemies as the VR player embodies a giant that faces off against the PC warrior in fast-paced, explosive combat. The giant will use their strength to destroy the PC player by throwing whatever they can at them, or swiping them with their bare hands. The PC player, however, has access to powerful weaponry, like bombs and missiles. This is a fun and frantic action game that's easy to pick up and play quickly. This alpha version is available for free through the developer's Discord. I'll link to that down below. VR Giants is another multiplayer asymmetrical game, but this game is co-op, where the PC player controls a tiny person that needs to collect coins, and the VR player is a giant that can move large objects and also lift up the tiny player. The giant is chained to a single place, but the tiny player can push a button to teleport the giant player. The free demo is a single level that includes about 10 minutes of playtime. To get the demo, you need to sign up for their email newsletter. I'll link to where you can do that down below. For a multiplayer co-op game, it's off to a fantastic start. A fun atmosphere with challenging puzzles that require good communication from both players. Blossom is a simple, relaxing VR game where you paint flowers onto a tree. No rules, no objective, no timer, just a living canvas in a peaceful environment. On each hand, you can choose which color of flower to paint, and you can repaint the flowers as well. As you paint, the environment will change seasons all around you. You'll need a sizable room scale to reach all the branches. I hit my walls pretty frequently trying to reach all of them. For a simple and relaxing experience, it's very well made. Amends VR is an interactive short film. It tells the story about a mother, her child, and the difficulties they face. It's emotionally very heavy, and sometimes even jarring. But overall, I was really impressed by this experience. I found it to be really powerful. Runtime is about 10 minutes. Drone Wars VR is a robot wave shooter. But I have to give this game credit for finding a unique angle on this oversaturated genre. You attack by throwing balls at them. You also have the ability to turn your balls into shields to deflect the enemy's fire back at them. And your balls will infinitely ricochet against the walls until you decide to retrieve them. So it's actually kind of fun to watch your balls bounce around the arena, killing robots while you dodge their attacks. I honestly wasn't expecting much, but I was surprised by these fresh new attack mechanics in a wave shooter. Robochan Escape with Multitool. Robochan is an adorable spherical robot that needs your help to reach the funnels, so you need to build up platforms and obstacle courses to guide the bot home. The Multitool provides 3 functions: a hammer to break down certain objects, a flashlight, and finally a tool that changes the strength of the speed booster rings. The only mode of movement for you is teleporting. At first I was having a good time, but I spotted a bug that really bothered me. When you respawn Robochan, the physics of the previous state will be inherited when it respawns. So unless Robochan always comes to a complete stop, you'll get random starts in its movement, and the physics change almost every time you deploy Robochan. After a while, that was annoying me so much that I didn't finish the game. But if that doesn't bother you, then give it a shot. Because that one issue aside, it's a great little puzzle game. TheWayOut is a visually simple and small escape room game. You need to escape a witch's home. I assume it's a witch because of the broom, but I suppose it could be a wizard. There's definitely magical elements in here, that's for sure. It features whimsical music and no direction. It's up to you to teleport around and figure out how to escape. After about 40 minutes, I was totally stumped and I couldn't solve it. Give this one a shot and let me know how fast you can beat it. Derelict VR. A derelict transport ship, the Charon, is on a collision course with a space station, and it's your job to board the ship and prevent that from happening. Thankfully, you have a perfect photographic memory, and so with the press of a button, you can see the past to compare and contrast with the present to figure out how the ship needs to be fixed. There's various audio logs to be found around the ship if you want to get more backstory on what happened. At the beginning, there's a music track that overpowers all the voices, but thankfully it eventually goes away. If you're not using index controllers, you may need to manually edit the Steam controller bindings to enable time travel on a button of your choosing. Playtime is about 10 minutes.
Dr. Elliot, almost Ismarus, and we can't wait to get off this ship. Giovanni won't stop going on about this fusion place in the food district. Thankfully, Zachariah is letting us handle cargo while he sleeps in.
Each sitting day, voices rise in debate as the government, led by the Prime Minister, meets the opposition face to face.
Parlement is part tourism experience, part historical presentation that takes you deep into the heart of Parliament in Canada. It's a non-interactive experience that teleports you through the building as you witness beautiful visualizations on top of real locations. I definitely learned a few new things about Canada that I didn't know before, and I was overall impressed with the production value. Runtime is about 15 minutes.
These processions are a parliamentary tradition. They signal the importance of the debates and discussions to come.
Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. See ya!